question. You began your acting career in the mid 1970s with Pandit Satyadev Dubey. So, how did those early experiences in theatre shape your approach to acting? Like, and what lessons from that time have stayed with you?
Well, well, the very first question I must say is that I had absolutely no approach to acting because I didn't know what acting was all about. It was only during the later stages of my career, I mean, after a couple of years, that I decided that it is a fun stream. Let me try it. I don't know how far I'll go. I don't know what it's going to teach me and what is going to come of it. Whether I want to take this up as a career or not, because I was inclined, of course, as all fathers would like their only sons to join their businesses, whatever the business may be. So my father was quite intent on me joining the business. Now, because he was also from a theatrical background, it became a little easier for me to shift my stream a little bit and go into the acting stream. I didn't know whether it would actually, take me from theater to in front of the camera, because it took me almost 20 years to do my first show. My first show was in 1994-95, which was a show called Swabhiman. So from
Right.
1975 to 1994, 20 years, I did theater. I worked with my dad. So I was not very sure whether acting in front of the camera is again going to be an
So,
easy.
how was theatre different for you as compared to films and television? And did it pose any challenges for you when you
Yes, of course.
transitioned into it?
Yes, of course. As I mentioned the other day, theater is a 70 medium. Film is a very close medium.
Right.
And film is a very close-up medium. It is not one or two shots, maybe the wider shots or what we call a master shot. But in theater, you see the entire stage. You see all the characters on stage. You see exactly what they're doing. So the transitioning from theater to film was kind of, I won't say difficult, but it was kind of perplexing. It was in a way which I did not take very easily to.
So, but what was the thing which made you shift your focus towards films? Like, was there a specific moment or role that pushed you in that direction?
I had a very close friend. He's now family, of course, for all of us. He's a writer. He was the one who wrote Swaviman. His name is Vinod Ranganath. He and Shobha Day together wrote Swaviman. So we were rehearsing for a play, and during the rehearsals, he called me aside and said, Shishir, there is a role in the show that I'm writing. Will you go and meet them? I said, yeah. It's a 25 episode role, and it is negative. And that is how my journey with television started.
So, you mentioned about positive and negative roles. Sir, as an actor, how do you choose the right role for you, and what are the challenges that you look for in a role?
Well, actually, you don't choose; it comes to you. I
Right.
mean, the director or the production house says, "Sir, this is a negative role. Sir, this is a positive role. This is a gray shade kind of a role." So you decide whether you want to actually do those kind of roles or not. See, being positive or negative uh, is left completely up to the actor. If you want to do a negative role, you're most welcome to do so. But at the back of your mind, there's always a thought that keeps on ticking in your brain, is whether you would be typecast as only a negative role person, an actor who does only negative roles. So I have tried to balance it with both. But nobody has given me something that where people can actually laugh, which means I haven't done anything that I can make the audience laugh. In other words, comedy.
If there is an actor and he or she wants to come out of that image, like he or she has been acting like a father or a mother, and she or he wants to break that image and come out and try explore many roles and characters. So is there something which the actor can do, or it's completely dependent on the director only?
Yeah, no, it's completely dependent on the role that you've been asked to do. I mean, you can't actually explore any other possibility while you're doing a negative role. It is negative. It is negative. It is, if there is any gray shade in it, yes. But if it is a positive, like for example, what I did in Razi, what I did in Talwar was a negative role. But what I did in Razi was completely a positive role. In Talwar, it was a gray shade. There was negativity, there was positivity also, but more inclined towards the negative side.
Sir, you've also worked in OTT platforms for Bard of the Blood and What the Folks. So, how
Yes.
do you see the rise of digital platforms as changing the acting landscape in India nowadays? And it is also easier for us to watch a movie on Netflix or other platforms rather than going out to a movie theater. So, how has it influenced your work and also the revenue of the movie? Something that I actually thought of, that a movie makes so many crores while it's on a movie theater, but Netflix, we just pay a small subscription to it. So how does a movie make money then?
Once the OTT platforms came in, the advent of web series into India has created huge number of roles for a lot of people. It's just not the actors, it's also the technicians, it's also people behind the camera. They've given a lot of employment to a lot of people in India.
So you believe that the advent of OTT platforms has been better for this industry?
Absolutely, it has. Definitely, it has.
So as you mentioned, like all these obstacles in an actor's life, criticism is one of them, which becomes an inevitable part of any actor's journey. So
Correct.
over the course of your career, how have you learned to actually handle rejection, and what advice would you give to actors on dealing with criticism?
I think criticism is very, very necessary for not only actors, I think every department in filmmaking. The director has to take criticism, the photographer has to take the criticism, the actors have to take a criticism. They cannot say that, sorry, we are God. No, we are not. You must take criticism for you to make it better the next time. If you don't get the criticism, uh, you fall back, and you are so complacent about the entire attitude towards acting as an actor that you feel that whatever you've done is the best. No, you could go even further.
So you started with theater, and according to me, that's a platform where there are no retakes, and it's just the actor's talent that is on show. So, what advice would you give to youngsters who are into acting who don't have a formal background in theater?
I don't think anybody who wants to do television or film or wants to become an actor should get into acting directly straight into facing the camera. Facing the camera is one aspect of acting, but being on stage is where you learn the basics. You have to go through the grind of theater for at least 5 to 7 years. Try and keep that as your passion. What you do on in front of the camera is your profession, where you earn your bread, so to speak, where you earn your living.
Right.
But on stage, in theater, is where you're trying to fuel your passion.
So as you mentioned, the youngsters, many youngsters are nowadays joining films and everything, but they somehow sometimes get disheartened due to nepotism, which has been a very hot topic in the film industry. And as someone who has built a career through talent and hard work, how do you view the impact of nepotism in the industry? And what advice would you give to them who feel discouraged by it?
No, you see, if you have the talent, they will see you. They will see the talent in you. It is not necessary that you have to be a nepo kid. Irfan Khan, Nawazuddin were not nepo kids.
Right.
Om Puri was not a Nepo kid. Nasiruddin Shah was not a Nepo kid. Where there's talent, there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's always a way. So here, where there's talent, there's always a path for you to follow. And there's always somebody who will follow you on that path. So I don't think nepotism really plays a great part. Yeah, it may have played a much larger part in the early part of the film industry. But today's times, there is a lot of talent that lies there.
Sir, during our session on Thursday, we were all really impressed by how you were able to cry immediately while you were narrating that dialogue. So, what we were wondering was that it was such a powerful moment, and how do you manage to control and channel your emotions so effectively in front of a camera and so effective when everyone is watching you right in front of you?
Rishika, I think that comes only with experience. And I was so charged at that particular moment because I was watching a film that is very, very close to my heart.
Okay.
It will always remain the closest film to my heart. There's been a lot of recognition. There's been a lot of talk about Razi. Everybody, probably 60-70% of India's population has seen that film. So it's a film that I will always fall back on when I have to talk about a character. Just a little before that, my father had expired. So I bring in those kind of moments in my life where I can explore the possibility of using those moments in filming the moments that I'm supposed to be doing. That's why during that particular scene, Vicky was standing next to me. He saw me completely concentrated. He saw the tears coming down my eyes, and he just did that to the chief AD. He went and told the director, and she said, "Action." That's it. From there on, it was only me. I had nobody. I didn't know who was standing there. I didn't know what was happening. I only knew that I had to perform the scene with thinking about the death of my father. And that's the only way I do it. I mean, those are moments that I bring in.
Today's generation, sir, many people have less patience and often expect big roles and immediate success.
Correct.
As soon as we enter the industry. Given your long and steady career, what advice would you give to young actors about the importance of patience, persistence, and being down to earth and building a career over time and not immediately?
First of all, I think anybody who wants to do acting has to be disciplined. You need to be disciplined in life. You cannot take acting as something that will come your way and that is so easy to do. No, it is not. You need to be prepared to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You need to be prepared to do your rehearsals at any given point of time. You need to be prepared to be focused and to be committed to that particular project. Patience is an absolute necessity of being an actor. You have to keep waiting. Sometimes you have to wait the entire day and there's nothing happening. Your scene may not even happen that day. You can't go back disillusioned and dejected because the scene does not happen. That is what patience is all about. Perseverance is where you come back the next day with the same enthusiasm, with the same mindset.
So last week we went for a documentary shoot, and for that we had all of these things, all the setup. We had mics in our hand, but each one of us, we just broke down in front of the camera. We were not able to speak anything, and all we had were like our phones in our hand to see what we wrote and what we were supposed to speak. So what tricks do you have, and what did you use in your early days to overcome this fear?
You have to stand in front of the camera or ask 10 friends of yours, just stand there and just speak to them. Camera may not be there. Or ask them to hold a dummy camera. Let it not run. Just ask them to hold a dummy camera, get 10 friends and speak. That's the only way you're going to overcome that fright. Stage fright, even I had.
Thank you so
So
much
if it is
for
okay with you, we would like take a picture.